Mission.
Hi, this is Joel Persinger. I'm the Gun Guy. Thank you very much for all of your support on GunGuyTV and for even watching my videos. I'm very grateful that you do that, and I hope that you don't stop. Please share them and let other people know that you can watch them here as well. Now, by the way, there's a couple things I want you to know real quick. There is a GunGuyTV audio podcast now that's starting to be syndicated. I think it's on Stitcher so far, and we've submitted it to iTunes and Google and a few other places, and Spotify and like that. And it takes a few days for them to accept it and start posting it, but hopefully very soon you'll be able to find it there. Right now, we have posted it on both Facebook and Twitter, and it is available on Stitcher. The way that's going to work is this. There is a podcast I've been doing on Patreon for quite some time, and so this was episode 41, which is what you're going to see when you go find it. It's not the first one. And the first half an hour of the podcast is going to be public and syndicated, and then the following half an hour will be on Patreon only. Also, we're not prisoners of YouTube anymore, so you can watch us on all of these platforms as well. I urge you to go and subscribe to at least one of them. Vimeo is one of my favorites, so you might subscribe there, but you could also check out BitChute or Dailymotion or the Utah Gun Exchange, and make sure that you're there in case something happens to us on YouTube. As you know, YouTube is not particularly gun friendly. All right, now I've done a number of videos recently on department store shotguns, for lack of a better term. Inexpensive shotguns that you can find places that will do a lot of work for you, even though they're old, and even though they don't cost a lot of bucks. Now, I did a couple of videos on them most recently, and I've got another one for you today. And I got to tell you, of all of the ones I've shown you so far, this is my favorite. I really like the double guns, but this thing is just as sweet as wine. It's been a great little shotgun to fiddle with and play with and take to the range, and I'm very grateful to the friend of mine who's lent it to me to do this. This is a, well, for lack of a better word, it's a high standard, but it actually is a Sears shotgun. It was sold by Sears. This is a Sears Model 21. It's a 20 gauge, and they made a whole bunch of different versions of these. Golly, I think they made them and sold them until about 1966. I'm not sure that they sold them after that, but I've tried to do some research to find out how old this one is, and I haven't been able to figure it out. I would say it's probably fairly recent, and I say that only because it's in really good shape. I mean, it's got a little bit of wear on the stock, but not very much, and hardly anywhere at all on the bluing. And it just, as you can see, it just cycles beautifully. It's just a great little shotgun. It's a little 20 gauge. Very reminiscent of a Remington 870, frankly. It's got the safety in the same place, and it's got the bolt release in the same place. I would say, just, you know, as I'm picking it up right now, I think it's a little lighter than an 870 20 gauge might be. I could be wrong. It's certainly a little heavier than a Mossberg would be. I took it out to the range and fired it a lot, and frankly, I have to tell you, I generally will take so much ammunition, a sort of a modicum of ammunition, because whether you know it or not, I don't make any money from GunGuyTV. GunGuyTV is actually an expense. It's not an income situation. So I make my living off of practical defense systems. It actually costs us more money to put on GunGuyTV than GunGuyTV actually generates. So, people accuse me of all kinds of things, being a shill and like that, and doing reviews because I'm getting paid for them. And nobody pays me for a review. I give you my honest opinion, and that's that. And that should be obvious, considering the fact that if GunGuyTV went away, my financial picture would probably be improved, because that's a big expense I wouldn't have every month paying to put it on. But it's a labor of love, and that's why I do it. I took this out and fired it, and I burnt through every round of 20 gauge I had. And that's what all that buildup was for, okay? Because I took, a couple of boxes, and I thought that's all I would do, and I stood there and knocked clay down after clay down after clay down with it. This thing points really well. It fits really well. Now, gun fit is really a big deal with shotguns. This one kind of fit me naturally, so it was really a good little gun for me to shoot. It doesn't quite fit me, but it's close enough. And I found it swings really well through the bird. It comes to the shoulder really fast. It's nice, it's light, it's handy, it's balanced fairly well for a pump. And it was just uber reliable. I put a lot of rounds through it and found it to be just a super little shotgun. And this is essentially a department store shotgun made by High Standard. Now, they had a few different versions of it over the years. They had the Ted Williams version. This isn't one of those. They had, I think, the JC Higgins version. This isn't one of those. This is just your standard, high standard Sears Model 21. Now they did take 2 3/4 and 3-inch shells. So while this would be, in my mind, perfect as a dove gun, dove, chucker, pheasant, any small or medium-sized bird, frankly, because it'll take 3-inch shells, if you put the right shells in it, you could hunt ducks with it. I've got a number of friends that hunt ducks with 20 gauges and kill ducks all day long. I've hunted ducks a lot, so you could certainly hunt ducks. Particularly, you could hunt big ducks, but you could hunt small ones too, the little teal cinnamons and green wings and like that. You could knock them out of the sky with this thing without any problem at all. And it's a handy little shotgun. The one nice thing about it is because it's light and it's a pump, it's uber reliable. It's fairly light. If you're walking the field or you have to walk any distance to set up your blind or whatever, you're not lugging a incredibly heavy shotgun like my son's Browning or my Browning. Those things are heavy. They're old and they're heavy, and we love hunting with them. But this little jewel right here would be awesome. Now, it does have a serial number on it, it looks like, starting with 583. 58320, and I won't give you the last two numbers. Now, I don't know if that, I assume that's a serial number, I don't know. But as to the age, I couldn't tell you. But if you happen to run into one, you'll think it's a 870 when you first pick it up. Then you give it a little closer look, you realize it's not. I gotta tell you, it's a beautiful little shotgun. It's really a prize. I looked on Gunbroker and some other places, and I found they don't sell for a whole heck of a lot. So you might look around and see if you can find one. If you're looking for a little hunting shotgun, certainly you could use it for self-defense if you wanted to. You might want, you could shorten the barrel as long as you keep it within the legal length so that you're not, running afoul of that. You could certainly have the barrel shortened, or you could do it yourself if you know what you're doing, and you could have a nice little home defense gun. It does have a plug in it that keeps you legal for hunting. So how you would remove that or what you'd do to get the plug out of there, I don't know. I'm certain there's probably a YouTube video on exactly how to do that. I'm not that guy, so you'll have to look someplace else. But this is a great little department store shotgun, little Sears Model 21 20 gauge. Beautiful little gun, light, handy, super reliable. 20 gauge is not something to be fiddled with from a defensive point of view. I wouldn't want to be in the business end of it with the right ammunition in it. And you can hunt just about anything you want. You hunt rabbits with it or birds or whatever. Great gun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for letting me show it to you. Well, that's the little Sears 20 gauge. Thank you again very much for watching. I really appreciate all that you do. Now, if you'd like to help us out, you're welcome to do that. There's a few different ways you can do it. You can do it by helping us out on Patreon if you want to do that. I know people have gone up in arms about Patreon. I understand. You can also help us out by donating on the website. And by the way, now, if you want to, you can donate using cryptocurrency by clicking on the BitPay button that's up there. We just put it up there last week. You can do that. You can shop on Amazon and use our Amazon link. It's in the description. Of course, Amazon's not exactly gun-friendly either, but you can pick their pocket and help us out a little bit here at GunGuyTV. Every dollar counts because, frankly, what we need, if we don't have enough donations, all the money goes back into what we do. If we don't have enough, then obviously, my wife and I have to make up the difference, or actually our company makes up the difference, and that eats into our income. So any help you want to give us, we certainly will not turn down. Thank you again for watching. Have a wonderful week, and please be safe.